commoners or His Royal Highness Lionel of Cornwall. I'm not afraid anymore, Mother.
Duchess, I forbid you.
I may be a duchess, but I'm also a woman.
Yes! Yes! In your face, Elizabeth! It's just like my life! In a way.
Sorry about that, got a little emotional there. So today I'm talking about the Attack on Titan spin-off novel Garrison Girl. Garrison Girl was written by Miss Rachel Aaron and published by the American company Quirk Books in 2018, which is fairly unique for a Japanese property to be adapted like this. But Attack on Titan has always been kind of special. It contains an all-original cast of characters and takes place before and during the Trost arc, so between episode 3 and 4 of the anime. It's more or less what you'd get if you threw an OC fanfic and a YA novel together, minus most of the canon characters. The story follows Rosalie Dermark, a young noblewoman from Walsina who is set to be married off to another noble family in a few months, as they do. However, Rosalie has had training at the Royal Military Academy, and before her future wifehood, she wants to make use of it. She threatens her father until he finally allows her to join the garrison as a regular soldier. Her father tries to discourage her from this shameful and dirty work by sending her to the rough and difficult Trost garrison. Unfortunately, Rosalie won't just give up on her last little bit of freedom, and not even broken equipment, a brooding sergeant, numerous Titan attacks, and a general abundance of incompetency can stop her. Alright, that about does it for a spoiler-free summary. I will dive into more detail and then cover some slightly major spoilers, but before I do that, let me get my personal thoughts out there. I enjoyed reading Garrison Girl. It was an engaging and, for the most part, accurate Attack on Titan spin-off. It works as a novel, with good description, interesting characters, and a climax that's one of the most adrenaline-inducing experiences I've ever had reading a book. Period. I cried. I'm not saying this book is for everyone and that my opinion is superior or objective. Garrison Girl does have its flaws. They don't take away from the book too much, unless you're the kind of fan that is very particular about things matching up with canon. I actually am one of those people, so I will be mentioning those inconsistencies later in the video, mark my words. But keep in mind, part of the reason I have so much to point out is because I have read Garrison Girl at least 3 times. So, it is possible to consider a book one of your favorites, but also seriously dislike a few elements of it. All in all, I believe the story is definitely worth your time if you're interested in a professional OC book about the garrison. Alright, time to go into details. If you want no spoilers at all, not even the slightest hint of a spoiler, you should probably leave. I'll see you in the next video. Alright, so Garrison Girl is obviously a story about the garrison, and it feels that way. From underfunded gear to canon regulations, we get to see how this underused branch of the military works. Their daily jobs include cleaning bird droppings off the wall, cleaning ice off the wall, and especially cleaning drunken soldiers off the wall. As well as cannon maintenance and keeping an eye on the Titan swarms. We also follow a singular private squad as they work. In this squad, there is, of course, Rosalie Dermark, girl of the garrison, and the feisty proud protagonist who doesn't really understand how stuff works. She can operate a cannon, which is a lot more complicated than just point and shoot. Then there's Jackson Cunningham, aka Jax, aka the Black Cat of Trost, which he is referred to a total of 2 times in the entire book. He's the brooding sergeant who doesn't like people, but especially doesn't like Rosalie. The last members of the squad are Willow Whittaker, who's angry and freckled, and Emmett no last name, who's nicer than everyone. They're side characters. There are a bunch of other characters, but so this review doesn't get too crowded, and so my hand doesn't give out, they'll be pushed to the side. I hope you two know what you're worth, Willow and Emmett. So, while Willow and Emmett are a little more than just 2-dimensional side characters, both Rosalie and Jax are decently fleshed out. Their character arcs and certain subplots of the story are predictable, but still well done. Keep in mind this is a YA novel, and it definitely reads like a YA novel. The book can be divided into several small segments for each individual conflict, and even though each one gradually builds up to the climax, they also work somewhat standalone. Almost all of them involve Titan encounters, which is where the story both shines and fails. The writing for the battles is sharp and easy to understand. I know I'm not alone thinking that. Miss Aaron has very good prose. There are battles where all four of the characters need to team up and take a Titan down together. These are the best ones, because Titan fighting is tense and you have to rely on your teammates. Only the most elite can kill a Titan by themselves. Unfortunately, while the story has some elements of realistic teamwork-oriented Titan battles, it also has a few certain characters that are just way too powerful, especially Jax. While it's fine to have a capable character, there are a few points where I wondered if he was secretly some kind of Ackerman. He's just too strong. You can't simply jump off the wall and kill 10 Titans one after the other. Surprisingly, for the main character, Rosalie doesn't fall into this category. She mainly fights with a cannon, which takes time to reload, so she can't be gunning Titans down left and right. It's a cannon, not a machine gun. Speaking of the fights, there are some mistakes with the Titan logic. You see, when Titans die, or when pieces of their body are severed, they start to disintegrate, turn to dust or steam. In Garrison Girl, it's mentioned that the corpses of the Titans do turn into, dust and steam, but the characters also frequently get Titan blood all over themselves and then gripe about it when it doesn't wash out. And the blood doesn't disintegrate, it just sticks there out of spite. It's also a problem because a minor plot revolves around Titan blood ruining clothes. See, Rosalie had a really fancy jacket from the Royal Military Academy, and after her first fight with a Titan, it gets ruined by blood. So it's symbolic and important for her character arc when she changes out of her fancy uniform and puts on the standard Garrison jacket. I just wish this element could have been implemented a bit more accurately, like she cut her jacket or got some of her own blood on it. Human blood doesn't turn to steam. Yeah, you probably knew that. On top of the inconsistencies here, there's also the meat debacle. Now, I don't mean to turn this entire video into a rant about these minor problems that probably only bother me, but at the same time, that was part of the reason I even made this video, so sorry about that. You could go to this timestamp if you don't want to hear my rant. Okay, back to the topic. Meat is difficult to obtain. The few times characters get it in the main show, they go a little crazy. The rarity of it is acknowledged in Garrison Girl when Willow and Emmett mention that they can't have any cream or dairy products because of the lack of land to raise livestock. But in the exact same scene, they claim they're having turned ham for dinner. Garrison private soldiers having ham. The last time the main cast got meat for dinner, there was a fist fight, a bloody nose, and someone was bitten. Meat is not a casual occurrence. This bothered me for a while, if you can't already tell. And then there's the issue with Willow and Emmett. See, these guys are more than just two-dimensional characters because they have motivations. The reason they joined the garrison was because their maneuvering gear scores were too low for them to get into the Survey Corps. But anyone who completes military training can get into the Survey Corps. You don't need to have any extraordinary skills to be cannon fodder. Sorry, that was dark. It would be recommended to master your equipment so you don't die instantly, but there's nothing stopping you from joining after you graduate. And speaking of the Survey Corps, I think Miss Rachel Aaron was under the impression they go on missions for years at a time. The journey from Wall Rose to Wall Maria only takes about a night on horseback. In fact, Rosalie travels from Wall Sina to Wall Rose in just a morning. The Survey Corps trips are supposed to be kept short and sweet, and very bloody. Ugh. Alright, that's enough criticism. All of this was minor, really, but I needed to get it out there. Now I'm going to go into some actual spoilers. You can still definitely enjoy this story knowing about these plot points, which is the reason I've reread it so much. But if you're ending now, thanks for watching up until this point. I hope you liked my thoughts and my doodles. Bye. Alright, time to spoil everything. Just kidding, just kidding. This is an overview of the later half of the story and plot. I won't reveal what made me cry at the end, but if you've read Garrison Girl, you can probably guess. The actual main plot that carries through basically all of the mini-plots is Rosalie's father realizing how much of a mistake he made letting her leave. This storyline progressively gets more and more interconnected with the other incidents up until the climax. The second subplot is Rosalie's relationship with Jax. So these two have a romance going on. You might have already been able to guess that, because this is a typical YA novel. You see, unfortunately, Jax very much falls into the category of the bad boy with the secret soft side. I'm not even joking here, he really does. So here's a small chart where I pinpoint how their relationship grows and develops over time. Mainly because this is a YA novel, Jax doesn't get punished for being horrible in the beginning, and he makes life particularly difficult for Rosalie, even putting her in harm's way. She almost dies and almost loses her job thanks to him. He does it out of malice for rich people, so it's less personal, but it still isn't okay. However, later in the story, he does genuinely apologize for all of his bad actions, and by the standards of a YA bad boy, he's basically a prince now. Once they actually get over their will they won't they love plotline, Jax and Rosalie make a good couple, and their relationship doesn't take away from the other plots. If anything, it helps reinforce how much Rosalie wants to be in the garrison, and how hard she'll fight to stay there. So, that's the video. Read Garrison Girl if you can handle YA plots and you like good writing. Or not. It's on Amazon, though. This wasn't sponsored, by the way. I just chose to do this. I should have mentioned that from the beginning, shouldn't I? Huh. Well, have a healthy and safe new year, I guess. Bye.